G'day, I'm Dave G. Sheshnaagaya. What on earth is Kundalini? Do you want me to straighten that up a bit? This video is about diagnosis of myself and the reason I'm on this path to do with dedication to Kundalini and Sheshnaag. It's scary for me to say, but I'm going to give it a crack anyway. This is what happened to me on the 12th of July 1998 in my physiological system, and I don't believe that many people in the West or India can diagnose it accurately. But basically, there was a lot of things that led up to it, and there was two mystical experiences within one day that if it wasn't for them, I could have just went back to working real hard and smoking heaps of pot and just living what they call a relatively normal life relative to the bell curve in the middle 80% of that bell curve or whatever. But I thought about things. My physiology is prone to intuition, so I was thinking about coincidences, and then I realised that there was no coincidence because everything was happening aligned with what I'd been reading or what I'd been thinking, and I thought, bloody shit, something's getting there before I can to coordinate this experience, so it's not coincidence. And then I realised that much later on that the Germans don't believe in coincidence. They have a word means Zufall, which means fall to you for coincidence. So life coordinates experiences relative to my own inner resonance. I had no idea at the time, but anyway, as I was thinking more and more in the intuitive perspective and tapping into see these subtle signs around me, I ended up at this church. It's written in my book, Why the Astros, which is book one of the 4-book series of What on Earth is Kundalini. But what happened on that day, the first mystical experience, I was driving along in this car and I wanted to go home and sleep, and I wanted to go down the right lane, and I was in 2 lanes and it was about to turn into 4, and I was about to turn right, and then my hand went like that and indicated left. I didn't want it to go left, I just decided to go right and go home and just crash out after the experience at the Roman Catholic Church. But that wasn't meant to be, so my hand went like that without effort. It was like someone else moved it, something else moved it. So I took notice of it, and then I was in the church listening to the sermon, and this inside of my stomach started churning basically. And I was thinking, I was just watching it, listening to her. This is amazing how this is all coordinated and it's all relevant to what I've been thinking. I'm sitting there, my stomach's churning, I'm talking, having this discussion with my higher self, talking to the minister about God and energetic concepts of how we're all related through energetic vibration. It's still churning. I'm having an argument with my higher self. Kept churning, and then it just, once I surrendered to my higher self and said, I'll do whatever you want, it stopped. And from that day, the only thing I've been following is the truth chills, which are those cold chills that you get when you speak the universal truth. Maybe you get them, I get them anyway. So let's put I language in there. I get this experience irrespective of the temperature, where hair stands on end to confirm that I have spoken spiritual law or thought about it. And sometimes it's a little bit on my arm, sometimes it's all over my body. That's like my aerial telling me that I'm on the right path, because I don't believe anyone. But on that day, the churning, what was the churning? Okay, this is what the churning was. So this is someone. No, this is just the human body, right? So you got 5 prana values, which actually, in my interpretation, are responsible for all creatic, spontaneous movements in the human body. Not the nadis, not the chakras, But when it becomes a bit grosser and a bit denser form of prana, then it influences your limbs, etc. And this is talked about massively by Patanjali, the incarnation of Sheshnag, who wrote one of the two sources of yoga in today's society, known as the Yoga Sutras. Within the Yoga Sutras, he details the prana vayus and what focus on them can achieve for the human. I'm just talking about the churning in my guts that I didn't have any idea about. Could probably draw it a bit bigger, or I could zoom in. Let's zoom in. That'll be the go. Right, so there's the human body. And you've got 5 prana vayus. You've got one that's all over the body called Vyana. I don't know, this might be seen as the aura. You've got one that's over the top of the body, Udana. You've got these other 3 in your torso. Prana, Apana, and Samana. Samana goes like that. One's responsible for inspiration, one's responsible for excretion, and the other one digestion. Just basically, but they've got a whole range of functions, yeah? On the day of the 12th of July 1998, physiologically, this is what happened to me. I'm sweating because this is risky, mate. Self-diagnosing myself with concepts that no one in the Western world can comprehend. But believe me, it's true. When I was in that experience and I was moving from the Vijnanamaya kosha, still in that, on the verge of experiencing the Anandamaya kosha, which is the dimension of supreme consciousness, pure bliss, I was also experiencing, unaware of to myself, I was very highly trained in focused concentration, so I was experiencing stage 7 of the 8 stages of yoga, and I was in an experience of dhyana, which is focus on one thing at the exclusion of all others for an extended period of time, and my focus was on God. After a long period of focus on God, this is what happened. My prana reversed, my appana reversed, and the samana came together in the middle to create an experience called Norli. I experienced spontaneous Norli for many reasons, but none were apparent to me at the time. So there you go, and that's how I physiologically experienced the churning in my stomach at the precise moment that I was on the verge of tapping into the Anandamaya kosha and experiencing samadhi. Since then I've done 3 years of research with High-End Yoga Institute through Satyananda Yoga. I've done 3 years of study of the Sanskrit alphabet through the Australian National University. I've traced the trail of the physical Kundalini, both from Varanasi right up to Gangotri, as well as gone to the source of the Kumbh Mela at Sangam, where the trifurcation of the rivers is worshipped and dedicated to getting off this cycle of reincarnation. Been to India 5 times. This is why I know this. I've spent a lot of time trying to understand what happened and how it happened. So there you go. My own self-diagnosis, share the world, put this out to anyone in the psychiatric industry to try and comprehend it, not even try and diagnose me, because you can't, not in the West. But there you go. Om Namah Shivaya. I'm David G, sharing his knowledge and insight in the hope to play his part in the transformation of humanity into a more holistic understanding. Peace.